Hello everybody, and welcome to the Sovereign Village Project. As hyperinflation finally and inevitably begins to creep into various industries, which of course has to with endless printing, I wanted to make a point illustrating really what the value of a dollar is, and to illustrate that I'm going to use dirt or land as comparison. This land here was purchased for about $3,000 an acre about a year ago. And so what I'm going to do is just extrapolate what the equivalent value of the land is compared to this, meaning what value can that land generate, what kind of capital can it create for me. So $1 at $3,000 an acre gets me about 14 square feet. So there's a bed right here I'm working on. This is a kind of a lasagna bed, an informal lasagna bed. It's a bunch of mulch and cardboard laid on top of the dirt, and we've got about a 2-foot section by 7 foot, so that's about 14 feet right there. And I'm going to be planting tomatoes in this patch, and I'll probably get 7 plants in the ground. If they have a really good yield, I'll get maybe 70 pounds. For easy math, let's go more with like 50 pounds from this patch of ground that I bought for $1. So this patch of ground will get about 50 pounds of heirloom tomatoes, really good tomatoes with a high sales price, and that will translate into about $200 in cash. That's what I can get back in cash from those tomatoes. Of course, that's a decent yield, and that's after a year's worth of work, but that's what in 1 year's time this $1 worth of land can produce is $200. So compare that to what this will produce if you just keep this in a dollar. If you just leave this in a paper dollar form or in a number in a bank account, this will not get you any money. In fact, what it will do is it will lose purchasing power. It will lose value. In good times, in normal times, it's losing 2 to 3% of its value every year sitting in the bank. In times like this, it's probably going to lose drastically more. It's probably hard for us to even comprehend how quickly this is about to become worthless. You know, that may be stretched out another year or two, who knows, because the value of this is a complete illusion, but it is also a little bit tangible because the value of this is held up by our military. And you know, cruise missiles and Hellfires and in our military is pretty tangible, so there is some value backing us. The value is the greatest military in the world, for better and worse. So that may be delayed a while, but I fail to see how endless money printing can end in anything but gigantic inflation. But anyhow, this dollar, which loses money, stacks up in that way just pretty unfavorably. You could be losing 2 to 3%, or you could get 200 times the value in 1 year on an investment, a very simple investment. Now, that's just the beginning of the value I'm getting from this land. Of course, when you have land, you can immediately live on it, depending on the laws, if you live in a free area or not. If you can live on it, immediately a rent payment is gone. For me, when I first moved to my first property, I was pretty destitute, but my rent before that was $500, and immediately, without that $500 expense, I was able to pay off debt, and my wealth began to exponentially grow for the first time in my life, where I left the negative and started entering into the positive when it came to my balance sheet. And then, of course, we have just the general increase in the value of land as there are more people and there's less arable land and there's more regulation on what you can do with that land. Usable land just continues to go up in value. And then there's a massive plethora of other things that you could be doing with that land. You could be doing hip camp or Airbnb. You can be building a rental house or 2 rental houses or a mini store on it or RV parking. There's timber. There's so much timber value on this land right here. There's just acres and acres of mature, good trees that are either usable by me as fuel for fire or building. I can build outbuildings out of it. I can sell it. There's, of course, wildlife trafficking. I can get venison off of this land. Of course, I'll be running a lot of chickens and ducks and other livestock on this land. So that's just one thing, a 200 times increase per year, which, by the way, those yields will only increase because of the way I'm treating the soil. I'm building this soil and making it better, which means my yields will get better and better and bigger and bigger, and my fruit and vegetables will get better, and therefore my value will go up. That's what wealth looks like. This is not wealth. This is just like a computer program. It's an efficient accounting system. I won't bash the value of the accounting system the dollar is. When you look back in history at how hard trade was, the fact that I could go right now up to Canada or Malaysia and most countries even, and trade something that is roughly the equivalent of my labor and resources that I got to earn it in exchange for, you know, a good or a commodity or service, that's pretty powerful. That's a good accounting system. It's good for that. These are useful, so save them. Don't spend them on useless, frivolous things like entertainment and food that's just going to disappear down the drain. Save them until you can purchase an asset being land or a share of a business or a thing you need for your own business. Those are assets, things that generate value. And a lot of things that are assets can also be liabilities. This land could be a liability. It could sit here and just suck up tax dollars in illegal property tax. Same as a car. A car can be a liability, or you could be driving it for Uber and making money with it, or you could be making money off this land. So partially it's not just what you buy, but it's how you use it. So make sure you are purchasing things like land with a plan to use them to generate more wealth. But I just wanted to make that little illustration of how paltry this is compared to the equivalent value of land. And that's why you need to be in the land game. You're losing money every second that you're not in the land game. This land here is probably about doubled, almost doubled in value for what it could be now sold for in 1 year's time, because in times of crisis and collapse, rural land goes back to its real value because it starts being utilized for its real value, which is producing food and shelter and security. So everybody, I hope you take that to heart and get out of the dollar business, get in the land business. Remember, dollars are useful. The house that we're building over there obviously had to save enough dollars to buy the materials and build the house. So when you save money, it should be a goal. It should be like, okay, I need X amount of dollars, but you shouldn't be leaving your wealth in this for any longer than you need to. Your wealth should be stored in businesses and in metals and resources and land and skills. If you go spend your money getting a skill that will make you more money, that's a whole lifetime of returns you're getting for that probably pretty small investment. For example, a permaculture design certification could really just cost you a few $100, and you could have a lifetime career out of that, as well as all of the value that you'll learn to generate off of your own land and the land around you. So everyone, I hope you take it to heart and just kind of really think about what the dollar is and what its utility is and what its utility isn't, and get on some land. There's still $500 small RV lots in Arkansas. Just get on any land you can as fast as you feasibly can. Everyone, I hope you're staying safe out there. Be well, and happy homesteading.